what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you are really good at. So if you are able to find the perfect intersection of all four of these, you have achieved Ikigai, which is a reason for being. आप में से बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे हैं जो out of a sense of mission, you have actually you have joined TCF. And this sense of mission lies at the intersection of what you love doing and what the world needs. So sometimes I find it helpful to know why we are engaging in a particular exercise. तो जब हम TCF के लिए काम करते हैं, जब हम बच्चों के लिए काम करते हैं, जब हम एजुकेशन के लिए काम करते हैं, तो हमारा ऑब्जेक्टिव कुछ और होता है. उस वक्त हमारा ऑब्जेक्टिव पैसों का नहीं होता है और ना ही शोहरत का होता है. What we're trying to do is to build upon the mission of the founders of TCF and be part of that mission in bringing this huge number of children who are being, undeservedly left behind. We are trying to correct that. So I just wanted to give some kind of flavor for what we're talking about. अच्छा जी, तो आते हैं सोशल मीडिया चैनल्स के बारे में बात करते हैं. The digital penetration in Pakistan is skyrocketing. All of you know this. Intuitively, you all are on these social channels. As of last year, Pakistan has about 165 million cell phone users, about 76 million active internet users, and out of which 74 million are actually on the telephone. So the majority of our internet usage is on the phone, this device that we are inseparably connected to. If you look at the main media channels, YouTube and Facebook dominate the social media scene. Each of them have over 40 million subscribers, which means 40 million people that you can talk to when you are trying to reach a particular audience. Instagram is also quite big, 6 million users. LinkedIn is about 5.2 million users. Twitter is about 4 million users. And Snapchat, which is still growing very fast, is at 2.1 million users. One of the channels that is missing from here is TikTok, because until last week, TikTok numbers were really not available. So inshallah, once I have the TikTok numbers, I'll share them with you as well. So what happens when social media goes wrong? आप लोगों को शायद ये याद होगा case. There was a gentleman who was working at Bank Al-Falah who made some very difficult comments using his work profile. And it resulted in a very bad case for Bank Al-Falah. And the end result was that, the bank had to apologize. I believe that gentleman was actually fired. So there are many instances of social media gone bad. Things happen where, with unfortunate consequences. And what we don't realize is that with the best of intentions, sometimes in our hearts, we say things that may be inappropriate or that, may actually work against the cause that we are trying to promote. Now, the flip side of that is that when a brand's message is shared by the people who work on that brand, there's a massive impact of that sharing, 500 to 600%. So 5 or 6x times better results come to the company or to the brand when people who work on that brand or business engage with it proactively and share its content. So one of the very, very important things that I would like you all to take away from here is that when TCF shares a particular piece of content, whether it be on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter, please take a moment to reshare it to your network. And I'll share with you some guidelines on how to do that. But the simple act of your sharing it can make a significant difference. Now, many of you will have heard the term trending. बहुत सारे ब्रांड्स ये कोशिश करते हैं कि उनका नाम जो है किसी प्लेटफॉर्म के ऊपर ट्रेंडिंग में आ जाए. ट्रेंडिंग का मतलब है कि उसके मेंशंस जो हैं वो बढ़ रहे हैं और चीज़ें जो हैं वो इंक्रीज हो रही हैं. सो whoa, what's happening? Okay, that's not me doing that, by the way. So just letting you know. Now, let's talk about some do's and don'ts before we get into specifics. So when you're trying to build a TCF brand, all of you have already decided that you like the TCF brand, you want to be a part of this brand's efforts, and you are already donating time and energy towards making this the biggest and best brand possible. So let's start with the first do, which is please do post relevant content. So when you're talking about TCF, please do share their content and make it your own. Share it with your own comments, share it with your own feedback. Secondly, do share content from third parties that is relevant to TCF. So for example, if someone talks about education, literacy, no child left behind, that sort of thing, please do feel free to share that content and use the right hashtags when you're sharing it. We'll talk a little bit about the right hashtags when we get to a later part in the presentation. Do share your company's success. So if TCF has done something wow, if one of TCF's partners has done something wow, please share it. Send it out there. Send it out there with a lot of love, a lot of energy, and say, hey guys, just want to share this piece of good news about TCF or about one of our sponsors or about one of our supporters. This following celebrity did this for TCF or whatever it might be. Please do share that. And last but not least, we all have followers on the different social media that we are on. So, if you're on Facebook, please do talk to people about TCF. In my circle, I'm known as the guy who always talks about TCF among, other things. But my group knows when they have a question about TCF, they should call me and just ask, because I will be able to guide them on how to answer that question. Now, what are some of the don'ts that you should definitely watch out for? Well, don't forget to post. This means that if you are regular in your posting, you will build a following that is more engaged, more positive, much more likely to, again, in their way, share the word when they receive it from you. So regular posting, consistent posting is very, very important when you're on social media. Second, don't be too wordy. Please don't get worried about, writing an essay every time you do a post. A short post with, a good visual, just a few lines of text and the right hashtags, and then tagging your friends who are, also concerned with the cause. The more people you tag and the more hashtags you use, the more your post will rise in the algorithm for each specific channel. Don't forget to use visuals. By all means, use TCF related visuals. Use other visuals that you think will have impact that are related to education, literacy, helping educate kids, all of this stuff. By all means, use your own photographs. Don't be afraid to have fun. The idea is to make content that's engaging, that's fun, that is interesting for others. If that means, it's a 30-second selfie video of you at a village, in the interior of Punjab working with some kids, and, you show their joy, their delight at a particular event, share that. share it because people would love to see it. And, again, don't get carried away with the editing. It doesn't have to look like, submission for the Oscars. It's meant to be you sharing your passion, your heart, your love for TCF with your friends, family, and followers. So on social networks, one of the things you should always do is update your job title. If you have a job, if you're employed, please. Sorry?
Please mute your mic. I think some people have unmuted it. Please mute your mic so that the speaker can complete.
Okay, if you have a really burning question, by all means, let me know. Otherwise, let's hold our questions to the end, please, because otherwise we may actually not finish. So don't post content that could be reasonably viewed as, badtameez, threatening, intimidating. Sometimes people become very rude, even in a good cause. That kind of behavior should not be exemplified. So let's always be polite. Let's always remain positive. There are trolls on the internet. We know this for a fact. The job of a troll is to cause you to feel bad about yourself. Just block them and move on. Don't allow them to ruin your day. Do post about the culture of TCF. Talk about your teammates. Talk about the lovely people at Baghbaan, the people that you're, working with, supporting, how they're supporting you. It's a wonderful way to communicate the transparent and beautiful culture that TCF has. What you should not do is, if there is a comment, a negative comment, or a weird kind of question on one of the official pages of TCF, please don't feel like you have to respond to it. The TCF team has social media people who are trained in how to respond to these things. Let them respond. If you find a particular question really obnoxious or very rude, you can always take a screenshot and send it to one of your TCF contacts and say, hey guys, this question has been posted on Facebook. I'm not seeing any response. Can someone please respond to it? Because everyone is human. Sometimes comments get missed. And so that's how you can help. But it's not necessarily ideal for you to go out there and start fighting a battle on behalf of TCF, because that just encourages trolls. Do share personal posts and do share work-related posts as well. Make it, like I said, if you're trying to show your passion for TCF, show how even at your workplace, you bring TCF with you. So if you've got a TCF mug or a TCF shirt, and you want to show your friends, you want to tell your work colleagues about TCF, why don't you do a little event at your office and bring the love of TCF to the office and let people donate directly to TCF. Try not to copy and share the same content. Just add your own spice, your own flavor, your own turn of phrase to make it something that people will know is coming from you and that you value. That's why you've taken the time to actually share the content. So if we look at specifics, if you look at Facebook, for example, let's start with that, because I believe most of us would be on Facebook, whether we have a large following. I guarantee there will be some people in this group who will have 2,000 or 3,000 followers or friends on Facebook, and there will be others like me who have 100. The reason that I keep my Facebook following very small is because I believe Facebook is very personal. So it's just my family and friends. It's no one outside that circle. But I share all my TCF stuff onto that family and friends as well. So this is a personal social circle, right? So when you post about TCF or when you want to talk about TCF, please make sure you talk about it as though you're talking to your friends and your family. Don't make it formal. Don't be very pushy. Don't force people to make donations, because you will lose your friends. This is something that you should think of as an education tool, as an enticement tool to bring people towards TCF by being very pushy or being very dictatorial. You will probably end up alienating your friends. Keep in mind that anything you post on Facebook ever, even if you delete it, doesn't ever go away. It's always there for the rest of your life. In fact, probably beyond your life. It will never actually leave Facebook. Um, so since Facebook is about relationships, and it gives people the power to share their favorite thoughts and their passions and hobbies and loves. This is a great place for you to talk about TCF, but in a very friendly and informal and, hey guys, see, this is what I'm doing at TCF. I love it so much. We're doing this event. Why don't you come down, bring your family? You know what I mean? It's a different kind of communication, and it's something that you should be very careful of when you're posting in terms of the way you talk. So some do's and don'ts for Facebook messaging. Please engage with your friends once you post something, and if people have questions, answer those questions. Maybe get some T-shirts from TCF and say, hey guys, to the first person who shares my post to 10 people, I will give this amazing TCF T-shirt, and you give them a T-shirt or pens or whatever it is that you feel that that TCF can support you with. You can be an advocate for TCF on Facebook, by all means. You can and should engage with TCF on Facebook on their formal pages as well, because this is how you build your credibility with your own group. What you should not do on Facebook is don't oversell. Don't post, generic content that has no value. Um, don't don't use TCF as a way to build your follower base. That's not the idea. Your follower base is your follower base. They follow you because they know you and they like you. If you start using content to get new followers, the chances are that people will leave, and you're going to end up alienating people. Instagram. So again, it's a very, very nice way of sharing what TCF is doing, what you're doing for TCF and with TCF. It's a global platform, so what you post can be seen by anyone and everyone. And it is, in fact, you can do videos, you can do photos. It's a very nice platform, and because of its close link to Facebook, the two things are normally complementary. So when you do a post on Facebook, you can post on Instagram, and when you post on Instagram, you can post on Facebook. So it saves a lot of time and energy. There is obviously competition from Snapchat and TikTok, but we may address that at a later point. So what are some of the do's and don'ts? If TCF launches a big piece of content across all of its platforms, please, by all means, share it to Insta as well. Make sure you're using the right hashtags, but make sure that your content is good quality, and make sure that you are putting your own spin on it as well, so that it's just not, resharing blindly without adding your own spin to it. Twitter. I wonder how many of you are actually on Twitter. It'd be useful to know. It's used by a particular target market in Pakistan. It's mostly used by I would say the elites, people who are, SEC socioeconomic, higher socioeconomic classes, people who are conversant in English, and so on. But the feeling on Twitter is more about breaking news, more about a sense of immediacy and a sense of being first to share a particular piece of information. And that's why influencers in the world of Twitter can have a lot of influence. So the challenge is that Twitter is a very fast moving medium, much faster moving than let's say Facebook, or even Instagram. Twitter is about minute by minute, day by day. So if you're tweeting about something, you have to be very, very consistent in how you tweet about it. And there will be opportunities for you to tweet big things and little things at the same time. Um, it does allow you to connect with celebrities. And I think actually TCF has done a really good job in terms of their marketing and their connection with different celebrities over the past few months. So those celebrities have gone out and done messaging on Facebook as well as on Twitter. And it would be great to see those messages getting retweeted and shared out to a bigger audience, simply because that is where the power of that content or that medium lies. So again, do's and don'ts, it is about real-time engagement. So if you're not prepared to have your phone in your hand when you're tweeting, and then keep it in your hand to build that engagement and keep retweeting and pushing, it's very hard to push anything on Twitter. However, if the 100 people that are on this call right now, all of you, if when TCF does it, if all of you were to retweet it within 5 minutes, I promise you that particular tweet will start trending on Twitter in Pakistan. And that means that it will get a lot more eyeballs because people follow those trending numbers very, very closely. So if TCF can trend 15 times in a month, that is phenomenal for TCF, right? It's just a great way to spread awareness, especially among those cities and those populations where TCF is not as well known as Karachi, let's say. For example, if you go to Pindi, Islamabad, or Lahore, the awareness generally of the Citizens Foundation is lower. And so if you know people who can retweet the message to audiences in Punjab, in KP, even in Balochistan, that would be great, because that's new territories you're opening up, and it's new messaging, and hopefully more traction for TCF in those markets. It can also be used for customer service. You guys don't really have that issue, but I do know that people tweet when they have concerns, complaints, or compliments on Twitter. LinkedIn, this is my personal favorite platform because it's a professional platform. People generally are more educated. I feel that there is a higher level of discourse on LinkedIn in general than there is on, let's say, a Facebook or well, any other platform really. The important thing to watch out for is that it's about reputation management. If you talk about TCF on LinkedIn, please do it very carefully. Please, again, tag influencers who you're trying to reach. It's a great way to connect with, senior people in different companies that you're trying to reach out to and, talk to about TCF. You just reach out to them on LinkedIn through an in-mail or through a message and just say, hey, hello, I'm approaching you, and I'd like to come and talk to you about TCF. And most people will actually respond. They're quite good about responding because they also have a professional reputation to maintain. Because a lot of companies nowadays are talking about mission, as in having a purpose, the reason they exist. People are realizing that it's not just about money. They have to give back to community. There has to be a social impact, a community impact. This is the right time for TCF to be becoming very, very active on LinkedIn. So please, if you guys, however many of you are on LinkedIn, get into the habit of sharing TCF posts on LinkedIn. And by the way, from LinkedIn, again, you can post directly to Twitter as well. So no need to do it twice. You just link your LinkedIn account to your Twitter account. And that way, you can also use the right hashtags. You can tag me on LinkedIn. I have a pretty big following on LinkedIn as well. Tag me. The minute you tag multiple people and the minute you use the right hashtags, again, the algorithm pushes your post upwards and it becomes more visible, and that's just good for TCF, and it's good for you as you try and build your reputation and linkage to TCF. Provide thought leadership. Don't don't only talk about the emotional aspect of working with TCF. Emotional messaging works well on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and others. But on LinkedIn, make it about the future of Pakistan. Make it about the importance of educating a child, because educate a child, change the world. So the hashtags you use could be around green rising, could be around invest in Pakistan. Educate a child, change the world. No child left behind. And there are other TCF Pakistan is another hashtag. Use these hashtags so that other people can find you. And then whenever you post, tag each other on those posts, so people begin to realize, wow, this Baghbaan ambassador program has a lot of legs. There's a lot of people who are passionate about TCF and its messaging on this platform. And that's a great way to build your network as well. So we've covered, let's say, the majority of, I would say, the mass platforms. So let's talk about content, because what you share is as important as why you share it. So, you've seen all of these. These are, some of them are films, some of them are music shows. This is what we call content. Anything that a person watches or reads or hears on social is content. And all of this is paid for by someone. Somebody makes it, right? So, um, content is king. This is a saying that we have in the communication world. Content is king. But how do you go about actually prioritizing your content? So there are 4 things you need to look at when you're talking about content. The first is substance. Does it have meat? Does it make people want to listen to it or watch it? Second, structure. How will you organize and prioritize your campaigns? Because you can't just throw campaigns out of the door. That's not how campaign management works. Third, workflow. So what resources do you need in order to make this as effective as possible? And then last but not least is governance. And this is, TCF will have a digital media team that is actually measuring the effectiveness of the content and how it was distributed over time. All of these, I'm not going to explain all of these to you because it's quite unnecessary. I just want you to know that for every aspect of this particular strategy, there are tools available to measure the success and or failure of a particular piece of content. It's extremely measurable. It's kind of crazy, but everything you do on digital, whether it be on social media platforms or through digital advertising, can be measured. So today, now let's talk about how do you organize, prioritize, and sort your campaign strategically. The model that we use is called the 3H model: hero, hub, and hygiene content. I'm sure some of you may have heard these terms before, but let's talk about the 3H model, looking at just these 3 images. If you look at the image on the left of the screen, some of you may recognize this actor. His name is Jean-Claude Van Damme. He was very famous in the 90s and early 2000s for his action movies. And you just know that anyone sharing a piece of content with Jean-Claude Van Damme in it, that means that's going to be their hero content for quite some time. Now look at the middle piece of content. This is Tang showing you how to make fruit salad. Now this could be hub content or it could be hygiene content. And we'll talk about what all of that means. So don't worry about it too much. It just means that hub content it comes along at regular intervals, is important for a particular point in time, and then it's replaced by another piece of hub content. The last piece on your right-hand side is what we call hygiene content. This is generic content that just comes along every so often. So let's talk about hero content. Now, hero content is the big campaign. It's the single most important thing that any company does in a given year. So for TCF, I would imagine your Ramzan campaign and everything around Ramzan would be your hero content for the year. So everything that comes out during that time, before that time, and after that time related to Ramzan and donations, all of that would fall into your hero content. And that's something that you should be able to leverage pretty much throughout the year. Hub content, on the other hand, is content that's been aimed specifically at a particular interest of your target group. Now, if you're in Dubai or if you're in Pakistan or if you're in Lahore versus Karachi, your hub content can actually be different. So there are smaller festivals that happen in Lahore or in Sindh or in KP that could have a campaign built around them. The other interesting thing about hub content is that it can be done in local languages. So if you're participating in a Sindhi celebration, by all means make your communication in Sindhi. And this, so I'm sure there are people on this call who speak different languages: Sindhi, Balochi, Saraiki, Punjabi, Pashto, 5 different kinds of Pashto. Don't be afraid of sharing content with your own version in your own language. It's not something to be afraid of, it's something to be embraced. It adds a lot of power to the content by making it super local to people who are seeing it. And last but not least is the hygiene content, which is always on, right? So this is things like FAQs, frequently asked questions. How do I do this? What should I do this? What has TCF done? Oh, here's our, audit report. Oh, we're the most transparent. So this is stuff that, is continuously dripping throughout the year, but it's the least important in terms of strategy for the business. So time to test your knowledge. This was a campaign called Keeping Dreams Alive. I'm sure all of you saw this. Now, can we, by a show of hands, can we try and find out how many people are aware of this particular campaign? Is there a way for us to do this?
You can show the thumbs up on your reaction, or you can just raise your hand. You can use reaction as thumbs up to show that you know it, or you can just raise your hand.
Okay, there we go. That's about 5 people. Is that all? Really?
We have some people who are showing their thumbs up.
Okay. All right. So do you want to do a quick count, Samara? Like give me a rough estimate?
I think 20 to 30% as of now.
Interesting. So what I love about this particular piece of content is that it really takes your emotional link to the next level, right? It allows people to see what it is that they're investing in. It's not random. It's this person that you're helping. And then you've got these amazing stats that came out as part of this campaign. And thank you, Samara, for collating all of this for me. But every time a stat like this comes out, it is so useful if the Baghbaan volunteers can actually just retweet this or send it out immediately to their following as well to say, hey guys, there is a reason that we have this emergency going on in the world today. And yes, COVID is bad and COVID is killing us, but actually this thing is as bad as COVID in itself. And so here's our strategy. So people are not just posting negatives, they're also posting the positive things, the positive parts of the strategy that TCF is sharing with them. So all of this stuff will be coming through to you guys in a regular way. And I would encourage the Citizens Foundation team to try and share with you guys at least a weekly calendar. So that, on day, let's say 5 of this month, we're going to be we're going to be talking about reopening of schools, right? So all of you, all of the fantastic Baghbaan Action Force are aware that this tweet, this social media post on Facebook, on LinkedIn is going to come out. So you know when it comes out, what do you have to do? You have to share it out immediately, you have to send it out. And so you dedicate 5 minutes of your time. It's literally 5 minutes to go across multiple channels and just click share, share, share. Type, you can have one consistent message. You can say, hey guys, so this is what TCF is doing to reopen schools safely. DM me for questions. Just copy that, put it on Facebook, put it on Twitter, put it on LinkedIn, put it on put it on Insta. It's just an amazing way of amplifying the overall message. That was nice. I quite enjoyed that. Okay. So again, some really nice infographics are available, right? How much work did TCF do? How many destinations did they reach? How many families were helped out? All of this is very powerful stuff. This is all linked to the hero content around Ramzan and COVID, right? Now, hub content. So this is what we call a P2P campaign. And so okay, so this is a picture of my class of from IBA in 1991, and I will give 100 rupees to TCF on behalf of anyone who can actually identify me in this picture. Well, I am in this picture, but I'm pretty sure no one will be able to identify me because I've changed just a little bit. But these are some of my classmates.
Stripes में आप हैं शायद ये blue and
Oh
white.
my God, Esfandiar. यार मैं आपको सलूट करता हूँ भाई, मेरी तरफ से मैं आपको 100 रुपए भिजवा रहा हूँ अभी. आप TCF के डोनेशन बॉक्स में डाल दीजिएगा. But you're right. We'll discuss offline. Okay. So a P2P campaign is basically, so this is a campaign that I set up for my class to be able to support a classroom. And as you can see, there is a goal of 360,000 rupees, which is what you need to sponsor a classroom for a year. And we raised 510,000 rupees for us, for our class to be able to sponsor, for our class to be able to sponsor a class at TCF. And it was, it was a very warm and fuzzy kind of campaign that I was able to do with my friends on WhatsApp and get them, some of these people were making direct payments from the US, from the UK, different places around the world. But alhamdulillah, this is something that we were very, very happy with. Now, the reason this becomes hub content for me is because I can do regular updates about it to my friends and family. And I can say, hey guys, we're doing so well, we're nearly there. So it took a lot of reminders to people, but alhamdulillah, we got to where we need to. So the idea is, you're asking people for money at the end of the day, you're asking them to donate. If they feel like they understand the mission of TCF and they understand why you are so passionate, it maybe doesn't matter if they're not that passionate. Does that make sense in a weird kind of way? So there's a lot of information on P2P campaigns on the website. If you need any help, the Samara's on the call. They can actually help you to set up P2P campaigns for you and your friends, your family, whoever it is that you would like to bring into it. And it's a very simple process, but it's a wonderful way of actually kind of coalescing all your efforts towards bringing people to this page and saying, hey guys, this is my campaign. I would love for you to show your support to this campaign. Put in whatever you can, 50 rupees, 500 rupees, 5,000 rupees, 50,000 rupees, whatever it is that you can support. And then you've got, what we call hygiene content. And mashallah, say the TCF team is extremely active with the hygiene content that they share. So, hey, thank you, sponsor so-and-so. Thank you, partner so-and-so. Here's what we learned. And look at this amazing person. When she was 3 years old, Farzana went to this school in Karachi and blah, 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 right? So the stories of alumni, the success stories, mashallah, say we've had, I think recently 8 people go to IBA. We've had people going to LUMS. We've got people now going to universities in the US. I mean, this is absolutely brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. So whatever your passion is, pick one pillar that you're really passionate about. Maybe it's the Agahi program where, you know, there are stories of a 40-year-old lady who's learned to read and write for the first time as part of the Agahi program. What an amazing story. Please share that. Now, okay, so in the middle here, you can see one of my ex-colleagues from Kareem. Her name is Tanya, one of those really passionate ambassadors for TCF at Kareem. When we were at Kareem, we had a special ride called, what was it called? There was a special car type that you could use for TCF. There were
TCF car.
The TCF car, thank you. And then we also had the ability to donate your Kareem Rewards points to TCF, so you could actually sponsor the education for a day. So these kinds of corporate partnerships are incredibly important. So any corporate that commits to becoming a partner of TCF because of you is like a sadqa jariyah for the rest of your life, because every single rupee that comes from that corporate to TCF because of your intervention is like a sadqa that you're doing for the rest of your life. So I think it's extremely powerful. Whatever you can do, wherever you can, introduce the mission of TCF. And it's such an amazing mission, right, guys? That's the reason you're here. You're here because you love the mission, the vision, and the activities of TCF. That's why you're here. That's the passion part. That's the hard part of this whole discussion. So share it, be proactive, be productive, and translate that into stuff that actually makes a difference. Sidra Iqbal, I mean, Sidra Iqbal should become your own, like she should be a hub on her own, because mashallah, she has a great following. She's very visible on TV as well. And she's working very closely with TCF on a regular basis to create content that can be shared outwards. So fantastic content. I think, yeah, so there's so much great content that you can decide what you want to share, how often you want to share, and the impact that you want to have. So just keep in mind, it's all about building the brand of TCF through your efforts and building your own brand at the same time. And I think, oh, there's my good friend Ijaz Aslam, also a friend of TCF, mashallah say. So, you know, there's so much to share that if we all set aside 5 minutes in a day, or forget 5 minutes, 3 minutes in a day, and say, you know what, today I'm going to reshare from Facebook. Go onto the Facebook platform and reshare 3-4 different things. Tomorrow, go and do that for Twitter. Day after that, go do that for LinkedIn. Just make it, you know, part of your routine. Maybe at lunchtime, maybe post your morning cup of tea when you're, you know, about to sit back down at your computer. Just 2 to 3 minutes, and you're good to go. And that's it. I think I'm a couple of minutes over, but I thank you for bearing with me.
Thank you so much, Umar. That was pretty insightful. And I think a person like me can say that I learned a lot from this presentation, especially about the content, especially platform and its sensitivities, right? Sometimes we feel like putting everything on all the platforms together, but I think understanding what platforms serve what purpose is very important here. So we are going forward to our question answers now. We have around 10-15 minutes that we can spare on question answers. I already have received one question answered by one question by Maria Salat. Her question is, how do we measure our goal, our success? What should be our goal? Is it the likes that we get? Like, how to measure the goals when we are posting?
Okay, so it depends on which platform Maria is asking about. Is she talking about Facebook? I would imagine so, right?
Maria, would you like to talk about both questions? Just unmute yourself and speak.
Okay, hi. So for the first question, I mean, I just want to know that if we start resharing, and I'm talking more about Facebook and Instagram, how do I know if I'm on the right track and if it's effective and if it's the way I should do it? And my second question is that sometimes it happens, especially if you have a lot of like not so personal following and you're being followed with a lot of people. Sometimes people make nasty comments about something, and you know, they say something which is not nice, or probably a bad experience or something. Should you engage in a conversation with them or just ignore?
So as far as KPIs are concerned, what we call key performance indicators, it really depends on what your overall objectives are, right? So if your overall objective is to spread awareness of TCF in your circle, then you should be looking at things like likes, engagements, how many people actually said something, did people actually share your or reshare your post, did they comment, you know, those kinds of metrics. If on the other hand, you've now gotten to an advanced or more advanced stage, then you can start looking at what we call conversion. How many people have actually clicked through on a link that you've posted on your post and gone and put some money into the TCF account, right? How many people have signed up with their credit cards to deposit, let's say 500 rupees a month moving forward? Those are what we call calls to action. So if you're putting in CTAs into your social media, you can actually ask the social media team to give you feedback on how many people actually clicked through that link and went ahead and made a payment. And do you know what I mean? Or if you set up a P2P campaign, you will be able to track it directly. And you might want to do that as just a test. So every time you do a post on TCF, put a call to action and say, hey, please support my support of TCF by clicking here. And they click here and they go to your P2P page. And then you can see whether they actually put money into the pledged amount or not. So, you know, there are multiple ways of measuring what is happening in your funnel. I think right now, probably don't worry too much about the conversion. Let's focus more on building awareness for the different TCF initiatives. And then as people approach you and say, hey, give me more information, you start directing them to the website, or you start directing them to a P2P page if you set one up. I hope that answers the first question. The second question is, देखें पाकिस्तान में बहुत वेले और बहुत बकवास लोग मौजूद हैं इंटरनेट के ऊपर, ठीक है? आप अगर उनके साथ engage करेंगी, you are making their day. They want you to engage with them ताकि वो आपके साथ जो है ना फिर बदतमीजी करें, और ये भी पता नहीं उनको क्या मजा आता है इस चीज के साथ. I honestly don't understand the mentality, but अगर आपके if you're confronted with a troll because you've done a public post, first of all, ignore. If they insist on being obnoxious, if they come back again and, you know, repost, just block them. There's no need to, you know, hyperventilate or get parishan or, you know, to call your best friend and say, hey, look at this idiot. Kya likha hai isne mere post ke. There's no need to do any of that. You guys are in the public domain. It's a public space. When you speak in public, कुछ लोग आपको आके झप्पी और कुछ लोग आपको आके थप्पड़ मारेंगे. तो थप्पड़ वालों को आपने इग्नोर करना है, झप्पी वालों को आपने झप्पी देनी है और आगे बढ़ना है. ठीक है ना? तो परेशान होने की बिल्कुल जरूरत नहीं है. Simply block and move on. I hope that makes sense.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. I would request Suhaib Siddiqui to next ask his question.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my question was around if I create a post or a video, do I need a TCF social media team to vet it first before I can post it out?
So it depends.
Where would you like to respond?
I think कहीं किसी का
I think
Okay.
it's better.
Yeah. So listen, marketing material for the most part should come to you from the TCF team, not the other way around. If you start designing marketing material for them, probably Sumaira and her team will have lots of problems because you may not use the logo properly. You may use the wrong background. You may use the just the placement of things would be off the brand book. So if you have a particular need, I would suggest drop an email to Sumera. They have hundreds, if not thousands of pieces of content already made. So most probably जो भी आप कहना चाह रहे हैं वो बना हुआ है, या उनके पास एक टेम्पलेट होगा, वो उसमें आपकी टेक्स्ट ड्रॉप करके आपको वापस भेज देंगे. So I would suggest, if you're going to use the TCF logo, don't use it without their input. If it's a just a static post and you're talking about the Citizens Foundation, by all means do that. No one's going to stop you. But use of the logo and use of the trademark and all of that stuff, you need to make sure that it's properly done.
Thank you.
So I hope it answers your question. I think this was something you were after me, but we can discuss it later as well. अच्छा, अभी next हमारे पास Fajr server है. So we have couple of people who have raised hand, couple of people who have asked their questions on the chat. We have 10 more minutes that we can spare on the question answers. If there are questions that did not address now, what we can do is you can leave your question at baghbaan@tcf.org.pk, and we can get it answered by, we can consult Omar, or we can create an answer for you and share it with you. Fajr, I would request you to please ask your question.
Do we need, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, do we need to make our Facebook post public, or just sharing it with the friends and family is okay? Because not everyone wants to make their post public on Facebook and Instagram.
I think that's a great question. You should do what you are comfortable with. Nothing more, nothing less. No one is forcing you to make your post public. We all come from different backgrounds. We all have different constraints. It's absolutely fine. Please do what you are comfortable with. Don't feel any pressure to do anything that you're not comfortable with.
I hope it answers your question, Fajr. Next we have Rida.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rida Fatma, if you want to proceed with your question. I don't see Rida here. Mehvish Naqvi, would you like to proceed?
Assalamualaikum. I just wanted to, how frequent should we post about our campaign? आपने कहा कि overboard नहीं जाना है, तो what's the suggestion about that?
Rather than worrying about a specific number, I think you should be consistent. So अगर आप ये फैसला करें कि जी मेरे पास टाइम है हफ्ते में 2 दफ़ा पोस्ट करने के लिए, तो you pick 2 days, let's say Monday and Friday, and I'm going to post about TCF on Monday and Friday. And then what you do is you brand it in such a way that you say, hey, this is my Monday motivation post for my followers. And as usual, I'm going to talk about TCF. And, then you do a Friday post and say, thank God it's the weekend. And by the way, here's some great news for you guys for the, heading into the weekend. So you set up your own cadence. Some people are comfortable posting every day. Some people are comfortable posting once a week. Some are twice a week. आप अपना cadence एक बना लें. It should not be an imposition for you. It should be something that you can manage easily without stress. The idea is that it's a positive thing you're sharing. It's something wonderful. It's something mission driven, impactful. सच बात ये है महविश कि हम अपनी जिंदगी में इतनी गंद बला बकवास शेयर करते हैं कि आप शायद जानती होंगी कितना कचरा आपके पास व्हाट्सएप पे आता है ऑन अ डेली बेसिस. कितना मतलब मनों के हिसाब से लोग कचरा होते हैं. आपका अल्लाह भला करे. मतलब वीडियोस 20 MB की वीडियो लोग भेजते हैं. भाई आपका कोई ख्याल ही नहीं है कि मैं वाईफाई पे नहीं हूँ, ये कचरा मेरे फोन को ब्लॉक कर देगा. कुछ नहीं. वो फलाने पॉलिटिकल कमेंट्री, मजहबी, ये फलाना, वो ये स्टूपिड जोक्स, मतलब हर किस्म के जोक्स आते हैं आपके पास. आप भी कुछ शेयर करती होंगी. अगर आप नहीं शेयर करती हैं तो आप उस 0.1% में से हैं जो सीधा जन्नत में जाएंगे. ठीक है ना. आप कोशिश ये करें कि जो आपको कोई बकवास चीज भेजे, आप उनको एक TCF के मुतालिक चीज वापस. आप TCF के मुतालिक उनको भेजेंगी, 4 दफा आप करेंगी ना, 5वीं दफा वो आपको कुछ भेजेगा ही नहीं, कहेगा यार क्या मुसीबत है, हर दफा मेरे आके गले में पड़ जाती है ये बात, मैं उनको कुछ भेजता हूँ, कुछ भेज रही है वापस. So this is just a way of managing your WhatsApp, but जो आपके social media है उसका आप एक cadence बना लें and just go with that, whatever cadence is comfortable for you. Try once a week, maybe on a Friday आप कहेंगे भैया आज जुम्मा मुबारक दिन है, आज जो ना आज की जो donations होते हैं उसका बहुत ज़्यादा अजर होता है, वहाँ से आप करें, and you go on from there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you very much.
Umar, I'm just going to summarize a couple of questions that are there on the chat box. So again, one of Rida Fatma, who couldn't come on the mic, she's asking about how would she know that if she's promoting TCF on her page, uske page ke through kitna donation aaya hai, how she would track it. There was another question similar to that, that what are the peak hours of posting? Like, is there any prescribed hours of the day where we should do the post? अगर इन दोनों क्वेश्चन को आप एड्रेस कर लें, आई थिंक वी वुड बी, एंड देन देयर इज अनदर क्वेश्चन बाय ताहिर नियाज व्हिच आई वुड आस्क हिम टू आस्क आफ्टर यू रिस्पोंड.
Okay, so, it's very difficult to track how many donations are being gathered through your Facebook posts or your other posts, unless you are an influencer. For example, आप एक महवेश या मरीना या कोई और हमारी जो नामवर ख़वातीन हैं या मर्द हजरात हैं, सेलिब्रिटीज़, उनको जो है you can actually give them a dedicated link which they can share, and based on that link you can track exactly how many people are coming through that particular celebrity. The problem is you can't do that with everyone because it just becomes impossible to manage as data. मैं आपसे सजेस्ट ये करूँगा, अगर आपको ट्रैकिंग करनी है तो आप अपना एक P2P पेज बना लें और उसको ट्रैक करना शुरू कर लें, और आप देख लें कि भाई इस महीने में मैंने 20,000 रुपये गैदर किए, अगर मैंने नेक्स्ट मंथ 50,000 रुपये गैदर किए तो मैं जीत गई, और अगर मैंने 10,000 गैदर किए मैं फिर भी जीत गई, बिकॉज दैट वाज 10,000, दैट वाज मोर देन जीरो, राइट? सो don't worry too much about tracking right now. Again, I would suggest build your cadence first. Let people know that you're doing this for TCF, and then people will start coming to you and saying, "अच्छा बेटा, मुझे अगर पैसे जमा करवाने तो मैं कैसे करवाऊँ?" And then you just send them that link कि आंटी यहाँ क्लिक करें और अपने मियाँ का क्रेडिट कार्ड यहाँ डाल दें, और बहुत बहुत सारे जीरोस के साथ डालिएगा, मतलब कम जीरोस वाले हमें नहीं चाहिए. आप कोशिश करें कि 3 या 4 जीरोस तो हों आपके डोनेशन के अंदर. और दूसरा सवाल ये था कि किस टाइम पे करें. देखें, हर सोशल मीडिया का एक्सपर्ट, आई एम नॉट एन एक्सपर्ट बाय द वे, बट हर सोशल मीडिया का एक्सपर्ट, और पाकिस्तान में 2 लाख एक्सपर्ट्स मौजूद हैं, हर बंदा आपको एक अलग टाइम देगा, एक अलग ज्ञान देगा, ठीक है? उसकी आप ज़्यादा परेशान मत हों. Monday mornings are generally a good time to post because people are at work, and the minute we get to work we think we have to have coffee or tea or something, and that's usually when we check our social media, either on the commute or while you are at the office in the morning. The other good time to post is around between 4:30 and 5 o'clock in the evening, because people are heading home, and at that point your post will be more visible to them. Similarly, Friday evenings is a good time to post. Generally weekends not so much, because weekends पे लोग दूसरी चीजें कर रहे होते हैं. So जो भी आपने post किया होता है during the week वो weekend पे catch up कर लेते हैं. That's just my 2 cents, but really it doesn't. मैं कोई इसकी guarantee नहीं दे रहा हूँ कि ये this is an answer. This is just my view. ठीक है?
Thank you, man. I hope this addresses a lot of questions. Tahir साहब का question हम आखिरी लेंगे, and then उसके बाद we'll conclude. Tahir साहब, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Omar Saab, for a very comprehensive presentation. One question: is there a way to measure the number of hits on the contents that we share on social platform? And if there is, wouldn't that be more appropriate to measure the success of viewers rather than focusing on its impact?
जी. So every platform allows you to do that. The challenge becomes, इस पे जो ना बड़ा दिल खराब होता है लोगों का. So for example, let's say कि आपके 1,000 friends and family हैं on Facebook. जब आप एक पोस्ट करते हैं Facebook के ऊपर, आपका क्या ख्याल है कितने लोग आपके आपके डायरेक्ट कनेक्शंस में से कितने लोग उस पोस्ट को देख पाते हैं?
बिल्कुल, that's
No, there is an answer to this question. I'm wondering, do you know the answer to this question?
no.
5%.
Okay, that's
5% of 1,000 people.
That's too little.
This is what Facebook has done, right? इसीलिए तो मार्क ज़करबर्ग एक खरबपति बन चुका है और will soon be leaving the planet to return home to Mars. The reason for this is because the organic reach of a post on Facebook is only 5% of your own friends and family. These are people that are connected to you personally. But आप पोस्ट लिखते हो सिर्फ 5% लोगों को जाता है. अगर आपको अपने पूरे नेटवर्क को रीच करना है तो आपको पैसे लगाने पड़ते हैं पोस्ट के पीछे. और कितने पैसे? वो यार कुछ नहीं है यार, $5 लगा दो, $10 लगा दो. अब $5-10 उसके लिए कुछ भी नहीं होगा. हमारे लिए $10 का मतलब है 1700 रुपए. अब आप हर पोस्ट पे 1700 रुपए लगाएंगे. वो उससे बहुत अच्छा है कि आप वो 1700 रुपए TCF को दे दें. वो मार्क ज़करबर्ग को देने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. आप 1700 रुपए हर पोस्ट के जो आप देने वाले हैं ना, उसके ऊपर आप एक पोस्ट बना दें कि बात सुन मार्क ज़करबर्ग, पीप पीप पीप. आप उसको 2-3 गालियां भी मेरी तरफ से दे सकते हैं, बिल्कुल इजाजत है सोशल मीडिया पे. आप उसको बोलें कि तुम मेरे दोस्तों तक ये पोस्ट नहीं पहुंचाते हो, मैं जो पैसे खर्च करने थे तुम्हारे ऊपर मैंने TCF को दिए हैं. और वो पोस्ट जो है ना वो वायरल हो जाएगा.
That's true. The general understanding was it covers 100%. That's what I thought.
बिल्कुल बकवास. This is why I like LinkedIn, by the way. LinkedIn और Facebook में सबसे बड़ा फर्क ये है, LinkedIn में जब आप पोस्ट करते हैं ना सिर्फ आपके डायरेक्ट कनेक्शंस को जाता है, बट उनके फर्स्ट डिग्री कनेक्शंस को भी जाता है. तो फॉर एग्जांपल जब मैं एक पोस्ट करता हूँ LinkedIn पे तो तकरीबन 10 लाख लोग उस पोस्ट को देखते हैं.
That's interesting.
Right? So there's a huge advantage to actually posting in a professional manner on LinkedIn because your reach on LinkedIn is so much bigger than Facebook.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Omar. I think that, and thank you so much, audience, for bringing so many intelligent questions that would have helped us in designing our social media strategy next time. अगर आपके और भी सवालात, yeah, Omar, please.
Sorry, can I just say something?
Yeah.
Look, I have another 15 minutes. If people want to stay on and ask anything else, I'm available for another 15 minutes. अगर आप लोगों को जल्दी नहीं है तो मतलब I'm available.
I think okay, Asim Raja has raised his hand. Asim, please go ahead. Asim, you're mute.
You're mute and you're very far away from the phone. अभी भी म्यूट है. एक मिनट मैं अनम्यूट कर दूं. Hold on. जी आ गया.
Okay. It's okay.
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, thank you very much for having me in. I have recently joined TCF और बहुत मजे का आपका सेशन था सर. Thank you for that. But एक बात जो आपने की है कि I'm from Pindi basically, and I have been teacher trainer with Oxford for many years now. And I basically contacted TCF and talked with Tahira. Thank you very much, Tahira, for your abrupt response, and quickly you called me and you asked me to join TCF. When I shared this thing with all of my colleagues and teachers, because I have, I'm also running an education system here with 7,000 students. When I shared everything with my teachers and the ones who I've been training, there are a lot of teachers. Let me tell you honestly, there were only 5 people out of thousands who knew what is TCF. So the first question is, because I've been conducting a lot of training sessions in KPK, and I have touched them on my social accounts and told them about TCF, that it's something good and let's join hands with TCF. So there were literally below 2% people who actually already know about TCF. So the first question is, why is it so? And the second question is, which my passion is training and being an educator, how I can contribute as an educator or trainer using the TCF platform. I mean, can I conduct training on behalf of TCF, free training for remote area teachers especially? So that's my reason of joining TCF. So I would appreciate if you can please answer both the questions.
Thank you, Asim. Umar, would you like to go ahead with it?
No, actually, I was going to suggest that Esfandiar go ahead with
Yeah.
it because he's actually the right person to answer this question.
Yeah, Asim, so I think it's Esfandiar. Yes.
आसिम साहब आपका एज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट मुझे तायरा ने नंबर दिया भी था और आई इंटेंडेड टू गेट इन टच विद यू ऑन मंडे लेकिन
Okay.
मैं पहले वैसे आपको जवाब दे दूं कि टीसीएफ का एक जो सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज है वो एज ऑफ टुडे वो यही है कि टीसीएफ इज़ नॉट अ हाउस होल्ड नेम। इवन कराची जहाँ पे हमारा मरकज़ है, हमारा हेड ऑफिस है, यहाँ भी ज़्यादा लोग जानते हैं, लेकिन देयर इज स्टिल huge population of individuals, affluent individuals who don't know what we do, and even people who do know about TCF have a slight idea that at what scale we are working. They don't exactly know कि 1600 plus schools है वो TCF manage कर रहा है। अच्छा, इसमें हमारा थोड़ा सा स्ट्रेटजी का आप कसूर कह सकते हैं, बिकॉज इनिशियली जो विजन था वो ये था कि 1000 स्कूल खोलेंगे और इतने करोड़ों की आबादी में वी कैन फाइंड 1000 affluent individuals who can support TCF, and that was the guiding principle which we were taking in the initial years. तो इस वजह से मैसेज में जो है वो गए नहीं, क्योंकि 1000 पे जाना था। बट जब हमने 1000 टच कर लिया था नंबर, तो वी रियलाइज दैट कि प्रॉब्लम जो है वो इससे कहीं ज़्यादा बड़ा है, एंड सिर्फ अफ्लुएंट इंडिविजुअल से काम नहीं चलेगा। वी नीड टू इन्वॉल्व अदर पीपल। मैसेज में भी हमको जाना होगा और उनको अपील करनी होगी, और एक बच्चा जो है उसको 1600 रुपये में जो है आप एजुकेट कर सकते हैं, तो ऐसे कई हज़ार लाख लोग पाकिस्तान में मिल सकते हैं जो कि 1600 रुपये या 3200 रुपये या महीना या जो भी है 20-40 हज़ार रुपये दे सकते हैं। सो उसके लिए पूरा ये डिपार्टमेंट जो स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप एंड कम्युनिटी आउटरीच का डिपार्टमेंट 3 साल पहले बनाया गया था, उसका मकसद ही यही था कि आउटरीच जो है वो मैसेज तक जो है वो बढ़ाई जाए। एंड दैट इज़ वन ऑफ द रीज़न कि मैं आपके सामने और आप मेरे सामने इस वक्त बैठे हैं या खड़े हैं, बिकॉज वी वांट टू एंगेज द सिटीजंस ऑफ पाकिस्तान। दिस इज़ पाकिस्तान's problem, पाकिस्तान should resolve it. तो इस वजह से देयर इज़ एन अपॉर्चुनिटी ऑल्सो, क्योंकि वो भी तकलीफ दह चीज़ होती है कि मैं जिससे बात करता हूँ वो कहता है मुझे पता है TCF के बारे में, तो मैं किससे बात करूँ। तो दिस इज़ अ गुड प्रॉब्लम टू हैव, दैट देयर आर लॉट ऑफ पीपल who don't know about TCF, and we have an opportunity to educate them and bring them in the sphere जहाँ वो तालीम का जो है वो हिस्सा बन सके। बाकी जो आपकी दूसरी वाली बात है वो मेरे ख्याल से ऑफलाइन वी कैन डिस्कस, एंड आई विल कॉल यू मंडे and we'll talk about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Stay blessed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you have any further questions, whether it's P2P campaign or social media, please do write to us or contact your chapter head. I think they will be in a right position to respond. I don't see more questions on the chat box, neither no hands. So let's call it a day. Thank you so much, Omar Abedin. I would request Esfandiar Inayat, General Manager, Strategic Partnership and Community Outreach, to please say some thank you words in your honor. Esfandiar, please.
जी, सबसे पहले मैं उमर का शुक्रिया अदा करूँगा। उमर, आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर अगेन कंडक्टिंग दिस सेशन। मेरे ख्याल से इट वाज वेल नीडेड। हम जो हैं वो डिजिटल, मैं कम से कम अपने आप को डिजिटल इलिटरेट जो है वो कंसिडर करता हूँ बहुत हद तक। बहुत मुझे सीखने की ज़रूरत है। उमर ने मुझे बहुत चीज़ें सिखाई। उमर से मेरा जो है वो ताल्लुक़ TCF में आने के बाद हुआ था, लेकिन इनसे जो है वो इनके भाई जो हैं उनसे मेरा जो है वो तकरीबन 20-22 साल से मैं जानता हूँ। इनके जो ब्रदर बुज़ुर्ग हैं माशाल्लाह। सो उमर हैज़ बीन अ पैशनेट सपोर्टर। जो सबसे अच्छी चीज़ रही उमर की एज अ वॉलंटियर भी, कि जब भी ज़रूरत पड़ी है हमें किसी भी किस्म की इनकी एक्सपर्टीज़ की. ही हैज़ ऑलवेज बीन देयर डिस्पाइट कितना बिजी स्केड्यूल है. मतलब ये लिटरली अपना जब करीम में भी थे तो पहले दफ्तर से पहले यहाँ जल्दी अर्ली मॉर्निंग आ जाते थे. जो भी हमारी क्वेरीज वगैरह चीज़ें होती थी वो हमें बताते थे और फिर अपना काम जो है वो शुरू करते थे. सो थैंक यू वेरी मच उमर, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका. बाकी मैं आप सबका जो है वो शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहूँगा फॉर टेकिंग द टाइम आउट. It was a good learning experience, and as promised we will ensure that we make this platform a learning, a growth platform for you as an individual as well, because जितना आप लोग सीखेंगे, जितना आप लोग grow करेंगे on a personal level, family level and professional level, उतना ज़्यादा आप जो है वो बागबान प्रोग्राम को ग्रो करेंगे. बागबान जितना ग्रो होगा आप जो है इंशाल्लाह ताला उतने ज़्यादा बच्चे जो हैं वो गलियों से स्कूलों में जो है वो लेकर आएंगे. जो हमारा वाई है, जो वाई से जिससे उमर ने भी शुरू किया था, तो दैट इज़ जो मिशन है हमारा कि वी इंश्योर दैट वी पुट as many children from streets to school inshallah taala. So thank you very much for your participation, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. और इंशाल्लाह ताला फिर किसी एक और प्रोग्राम के साथ we have lined up other training programs as well in between fundraising से leadership से related, तो वो हम फिर आगे करेंगे continue. So thank you very much everyone. बहुत शुक्रिया.
Thank you so much. Just one last thing. I have sent a link for feedback form. So please do fill your feedback. Do let us know how did you find the session. I see a lot of compliments for Umar. Umar, I think it's people have thoroughly enjoyed and understood this session. A lot of people are texting me on WhatsApp and thanking me about arranging this session. So thank you so much, Umar. It was great. And do give us your feedback so that we can lock it and improve in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so
Allah
much.
Hafiz.
Thank
Allah
you.
Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. अल्लाह हाफिज.
Allah Hafiz.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.